Okay, obviously it's recording now. Hello guys, my name is James Sajjad Abedi, and I would like to introduce you a simple presentation, the way we can use QuickBooks. So this is the first video that I'm recording. On this video I'm just gonna make kind of introduction about QuickBooks, the way it works. So as you know, QuickBooks is kind of accounting software, and this software enable many users to use it. You don't necessarily need to know accounting to be able to use this software. However, like the person who is controlling the accounts and who's looking to that or analyzing it definitely needs to know about accounting. But the other users, to simply use it as for entering the orders or enter the bill, pay bills, creating the invoice, receive payment, these functions which basically are predefined in QuickBooks, those are kind of straightforward to work with, and this is kind of user-friendly software. I like it more than other accounting software I worked with before. So as you see here, we have different things you can do. So it can take you to the customer page, it can take you to the vendor page, and you have the option to change it to see the open windows. Let's say here at this moment we have these windows open. So basically on this shot it gives you the chance to shift between the windows or play between the windows, like jump from one window to another very quickly. So it's kind of shortcut. So one of the most important parts of the QuickBooks is the customer center. As you see here, I click on customer center. I'm in customer center. This company is kind of a sample company in QuickBooks. I name it Sample Furniture Company, and the edition of QuickBooks I'm using is Intuit. There's some enterprise solution, so basically it's enterprise edition. On that edition of QuickBooks, which I think is the higher or the highest level of QuickBooks edition, it enables you to create sale order and purchase order, and I will explain you how it can help to have that option to create sale order and purchase order. Not all the companies need to have that option, but definitely if you are a manufacturing company or importing exporting company, it's much better you have that option to have sale order and purchase orders. So as you see here in customer center, we have different customers, and QuickBooks give you the option to have customers with different currency. Let's say here we have US dollar, we have Canadian dollar, euro, but we are assuming that this company is a Canadian company. So whatever transaction is not in Canadian dollar, it will convert it to Canadian dollar fundamentally by the system automatically itself. Because you can add apple with apple, but you definitely cannot apple with orange. So first it needs to convert all non-Canadian currency to Canadian dollar, and then it can add them up in the financial statements. So we're not going to talk about that at this moment. Another thing you need to know in customer center is the way you can create the account for new customer. Let's say if Mr. A came into the store and is interested to buy something, as I say, it's a sample furniture company. Let's say it's a retail furniture company. So you first need to create an account for Mr. A. So easily you go to new customer and job here, and you click on new customer. So it takes you to another page. So as I said, the name of the customer is Mr. A. So we have Mr. A here, and you have the option to add the address here. Let's say 192 Brad Street, and it's in Toronto, let's say, and Canada, and postal code is, let's say, M2Y1U4. So you definitely have the option to create the account for this customer like that. However, you see, like, you can save and close it, say, okay, you have Mr. A here, and here's the address, everything. But it's not the best way of doing that. The reason is that QuickBooks is kind of database based software, like many other software like that. So for having the right database here, it's better you create the account in the right way. So you click on edit, and you see it's kind of messed up here. If you enter the address in a way it's sorted out here, you definitely in future can filter. When you're going to filter, let's say I'm going to filter the customers who are from Toronto. So if you don't have the database here, the right database as we created on the first point, then it cannot find that customer because it's not being entered or created on the database way. So then I need to start making change here. This is definitely not city, this is the street, so I just cut and paste the street here. If we lost the city, which is Toronto, I enter it here, and the state or province is Ontario, I enter it here. The zip code or postal code is right. Country Canada, note. You don't necessarily need to have a note, and hit OK. Now you see the way you have it now, it enables the software in future. If you're going to filter it, oh, I want to filter the customer from Toronto, this customer pops up. I'm going to filter the customer from Ontario, this customer pops up. I'm going to know what are the customers, living in Canada, this customer will show up. So because we have the right database here now, based on the street, city, province, postal code, and country. So the way province work in Canada is the same way states work in United States. We name them province here, you guys, or maybe the people who are living in United States name it state. Anyhow, so the main phone, these are, as I said, this database base. So you need to enter the phone of the customer, 416-111-111-1. And work phone you can enter. Email, it's very good to have the email address of the customer, Mr. A at gmail.com. So the good thing about having the email address, let's say in future you're gonna send kind of sale advertisement or whatever, you're gonna target the customers in certain area, so you have the email address of the customer. You can send the email or the advertisement by email to the customer. You can have the website here or other information. Some customer may have a different ship to address. They don't necessarily want to use the bill to address. This is bill to address, so you can have a different ship to address to be added here, and it's easy. The same way as you created the bill to address, you can create the ship to address here. And so you have other functions here. So this is the page of address information. You can go to payment setting. So here you have other information which can be entered. You can assign account number to a customer, payment term. So these are the payment terms. You can add new payment term to that if not necessarily you are limited to these terms. You can have new one, but what does these terms mean usually? Let's say net 15 means that we're selling to customer on term. That means the customer doesn't need necessarily to pay us at the time they buy the merchandise, so they can have the payment 15 days after they receive the merchandise. We name it term. So net 30 means like the customer received the merchandise today and they will make the payment in 30 days. And like the meaning of this 1% 10 net 30 is like the customer has 30 days to pay us. However, if the customer pay us within 10 days, they can have 1% early payment discount. So that's the meaning of that. I'll give you an example. Let's say we sell customer $100 worth of merchandise. So if customer pay us within 10 days, like till 10 days after purchasing the merchandise, they will receive 1% of $100, which is $1 for early payment discount. So they just pay us $99. So, but if they pay us, like if we pass that 10 days and they pay us, let's say after 25 days or 30 days, they should pay us the $100 in full. The reason some companies do that is to encourage the customer to pay them sooner, because for some companies it's very important to keep the cash flow power or cash flow level on the highest, as high as they can, or as high as they would like to have it, or at the highest level, because cash flow is, playing very important role, in critical situation or whatever. A company may have or may show good net income but not necessarily have very good cash flow. So these are kind of incentive. For retail stores, usually there is no term, so we put due on receipt. So that means the customer needs to pay in full the time they buy the merchandise. So it's not very important here. Preferred payment method. We have those options, but we usually leave it open. The customer can pay us usually any way they like. They can pay us by cash, check. If we have the device or on the credit card, they can pay us by credit card. So we don't limit the payment method here. This is a price level. So this price level is usually not for retail stores, it's more for wholesale stores, and you can have different price level for different categories of customer. So basically you sell the same item, maybe cheaper for wholesaler and a little bit more expensive when you sell it to retailer. But as I said, since at this moment we are imagining that this company is a retail store, we don't have any price level, so that's the same amount we're selling to the public for everybody. And here is the credit card information. Maybe some customers would like to have their credit card information on file. So in future, basically you need to have the authorization to do that from the customer, and if they authorize you, you can have the credit card information on file here. You enter all the credit card information, and system will keep those information, in a case you need to charge the credit card in future, so you don't need to each time bother the customer for asking the credit card information. But as I said, that's due to the authorization of the customer. Some customers authorize you, some customers don't authorize you. So if they don't authorize you, you don't have the option or the right to have the credit card information here. And the next windows here we have for when we create the customer account is save tax setting, and these are tax codes. So let's say for United States, based on the county that you're gonna ship the items, so you would have different sale tax percentage, and you can add new ones here, and you can assign the sale tax here. The country for us, for this specific customer, was Canada, so we change it to Canada. Business number for US companies is usually a federal tax ID number. For Canadian companies is, you know, we name it business number. It usually ends with 0001. And additional information, customer type. You can, you know, as I said, these are all database. So if you enter more information here, that enable you in future to filter it in a better way, and to have a more detailed way of filtering the data in future. And the rep. What is rep? You know, usually like wholesale stores, they have different reps in different states or provinces. So when you enter the rep here, the good thing about that is that if you're gonna pay the commission to rep in future, you can filter. Let's say Mr. Jones is a rep for the customers who are in Ontario. So if you enter Mr. Jones for all Ontarian customer here, at the end of the month you can run the report and shows the sale company had to the customers which were located in Ontario, and then you can calculate the commission for Mr. Jones easily. So you can filter by Mr. Jones too. So basically having a rep here, it enables you to filter the customers related to that rep in future. Custom field, spouse name, customer, since these are not critical information, but it's up to you. If you want to enter them here, you can do so. And job information, job description, job title, job status, a start date, project date, end date. These are, you know, more options. We usually don't use this option, but it's up to you if you're going to use it. So the main thing you need to do is the name of the person, Mr. A. So you can have Mr. first name A, last name B, and Mr. AB. So these are, you know, you definitely need to have the name of the customer, the currency. It's good to have the phone, the email address. You definitely need to have the bill to address and bill to name. And some customers, when they don't have a different ship to address, you don't necessarily need to enter ship to address here, but if they have a different ship to address, you need to enter the ship to address. So these are the critical information you need to have. On a payment, you need to have the payment term. And I forgot to tell about credit limit. Here the credit limit, if you sell a customer on term, you definitely need to have a credit limit, because you cannot sell to that customer on term indefinitely. So each customer has a certain credit limit, and you know, there are some companies, when they approve the term of the customer, they tell you how much is the credit limit, or the maximum credit limit you can assign to customer, or you can do it by yourself. You know, you start not from a high amount, and based on the past experience with the customer, how much business they have done with you, how well they were in terms of the payment, then you can increase that credit limit. But you definitely need to have that credit limit, because if you have it on, and let's say the term of the customer is net 30, you have the credit limit of $5,000, then you keep shipping to customer up to $5,000. But when it reaches you $5,000, the system will alert you, will say, you know, like, you reached the maximum credit limit. Would you like to continue shipping on term to customer? So basically kind of heads up. So you definitely need to have that credit limit if you sell to the customer by term. And that's it. And you hit OK. And now you have Mr. A as your new customer here with the required information. So I'm gonna end here and stop here. So we will continue the next session with, you know, some additional information. after. Thank you for listening, and bye for now.